basically, I'll show you like how it looks. So the title is Life as a Kid, and in 3rd grade, I learned that most people put subtitles. So on their nonfiction, if they're like nonfiction books. So this is a nonfiction / fiction book. It has a couple parts that are fiction and a couple parts that are nonfiction. So I put it, for my subtitle, I put, it's not always easy, but it can be fun too. And it's by Ashleigh, which is my name. That's my name. I'm the author. And I took a picture on my mom's computer, and the picture is me and my sister together at a really nice restaurant, and we were hanging out. So this is my sister right here, and I am on the left side and she's on the right side. And I put that picture there because it means a lot to me, just like your family probably means a lot to you, and she means a lot to me and my family. So that's why I put that there. And it also shows like a picture of one of my family members and me, like, so we're friends and we're having a lot of fun and things like that. So that's what kids do. They like to have fun and play with their family members and things. Well, I think what I just did was, like, since I've been spending so much time with my family and I love them so much, I was thinking about doing a book for other kids, because there are some other kids that their family members don't really care about. They don't really care about either them, and they don't feel very confident anymore, and they're not very happy because they think they're not loved. So I wrote it for, so like those kids, it'll make them feel more confident and happy, and to know that there is someone to love them, even if their family members are upset or something like that. Actually, yeah, I've written one in 3rd grade, and it's called All About Music. And it's mostly about like what kinds of instruments you play and what does music like mean to you in your life, and if there's anything going on with you that has to do with music, like do you like music? If you don't, then like maybe try it out or something like that. And it just it's like I wrote it mostly for I wrote it because I like music, and it's like a big part of my life, and I like to be able to play instruments and things like that. So I was thinking maybe if I wrote a book about music, then other people could see that music is something that's really, really good for really good for kids, adults, anybody, and it's really, really fun. So yeah, you could say that, I guess. Yeah, probably. It's fun. Well, it's called A Series of Unfortunate Events, and it's a full series about like 13. It has 13 books, and it's by Lemony Snicket. He's one of my favorite authors, and he inspired me to start writing books while I was young, and while I've got a lot of ideas in my head about it. And there's 3 Baudelaires, that's their last name, and they're 3 kids, and they are going through a really, really hard time with their family. And they, like in the first book, they lost their parents in a terrible fire at their house, and it burned down their whole entire mansion. So now they're in the hands of this really bad and mean villain, and his name is Count Olaf, and he is like their great uncle, and he wants to try to get their fortune that their parents left behind for them when Violet comes of age, which she's the oldest, then they can use it for the things they might need. But they're in a really, really hard life. They have a really, really hard life, and they need to like feel loved. So this bank who's taking care of their like fortune that their parents held. They're holding on to it and helping them find some fun owners and nice owners. Well, it's really hard because they're orphans now, and people don't really know, most people don't really know that they need someone for them to that they need someone to love them. Well, I have in my regular family, like in my house, my mom, whose name is April. My dad's name is Jeff Post, and he lives in my house with me as well. I have one younger sister and one baby brother. My baby brother's name is Colton, and he's 1.5 now, and he can walk. And then my sister's name is Brooke, and she is 8 years old, and she's like about as tall as I am. She's very mature, and she likes to play with me a lot, and she's very kind, and so is my baby brother and my family. But probably in total, I'd say I have a lot of like family members. I've got them like everywhere, but they are far away. Like here in Whiteville, I live with you, my papa, and my grandma. I'm living here right now, so I go like for vacations and things with my sister and me, and sometimes my baby brother, because my baby brother just went by himself for the first time. He came here for like about 3 days. So, and I live in Burlington, so it's like 3 hours away to be able to see my grandparents, and that's a little upsetting. And one of my aunts, my uncle, and my little cousin. He's, I think, either 4 or 5, and he's really sweet. He's nice to me, and he loves me. He loves to be able to play with me, Colton, and Brooke. And actually, he's about to have a little baby brother, so I'll get another cousin. That'll be fun too. Yeah. Well, at my house, my dad is a hunter, so he likes to go out in our yard, back behind our house. We have like 10 or some acres of woods, and he likes to hunt, so that's something really cool. And sometimes he takes me up in his deer stands, and I can watch like movies and things while he hunts, and that's really fun to be able to spend time like that with him. And he also lets me drive his 4-wheeler in the woods with him, so that's really fun. And my mom, she teaches at Elon University on the Elon campus. And what's really cool about her is she can speak Spanish. So we got to go just this year on 1-week trip to Nicaragua, and we taught people about Jesus and Christ and everything about like that, like how to read the Bible and things, because they really needed help. They don't have very good family members there. They don't have a lot to eat. They don't have very good shelters, so we had to help them out with that. So it's really cool because she taught us Spanish. She taught me and my sister Spanish. So I'm really good at that, and so is she. And what's really cool about my baby brother is he knows how to give a high five. He knows how to say my name, which is really cute, and he's really fun to play with. Like, he understands me, so that's cool. And my sister, she watches a ton of YouTube videos on how to do all kinds of projects with like pranks and like blowing up balloons to make stress balls and all kinds of cool things like that. So what I like to do, what's really cool about her and what I like to do with her is that she lets me help her out with some of those projects, and it's just really fun to be able to do things like that with her too and learn how to do it from her. So yeah. Okay, so when I wrote this book, I was thinking, well, there are a ton of kids that no one ever sees, and they're just out there with no family or anything. So I wrote Life as a Kid for like kids and adults, anybody who wants to read it, how it is to be a kid. So like all kinds of things, like things that they like and things that most interest them and how their family is. And there are some things in here about my life and my family too. So let's get started. So the title of my book is Life as a Kid. My subtitle I put is It's Not Always Easy, but It Can Be Fun Too, and by Ashleigh Post, my name. So chapter 1, how it all begins. So this chapter is mostly like how God made you for a purpose, how God wants you to be able to learn things, do fun things as well, and spend a lot of fun times with your family. Chapter 2 is like the pros and cons of being a kid. There are a ton of things that you can't do that you really want to. Like, for instance, some kids really, really want to get like a trampoline or something that's pretty expensive. And their parents, of course, they're in charge of them, so they can say yes or no. So that's like a con, something that's not very fun about being a kid, but still they have a reason why. So that's good. And then like a pro is something that you, like as a kid, you've got strong muscles. You're really small, so you can do a lot of things. Like there are things that adults or teenagers, they can't do. And so that's why childhood is really nice, because you can do all kinds of athletical things like grandparents can't do, and there's a lot of things like for you to experience while you're young that you can't while you're an adult or you haven't gotten to do it. So chapter 3 is how to act like a kid that grown-ups want to be around. You mostly have to act really well to be around grown-ups, because they want to see a kid who is responsible and kind to others and helpful. So when you're around like your parents or adults, teenagers, anyone, try to act like a kid that grown-ups want to be around. Like that people want to be around someone kind, someone like maybe if you need to hold the door open for somebody and you think about it, you should definitely try to do that and be just really helpful around adults. Like if they need help with something, help them. And chapter 4 is the different things kids like to do. So kids are mostly, like most of them are really athletic. They like to do all kinds of like maybe gymnastics or sports. So the different sports that kids like to do are like soccer, baseball for boys, softball, football, and like basketball. So a lot of kids like to start when they're young, and a lot of kids have like dreams of being a famous basketball player, and you should always have the perfect dream for like what you want to do when you get older, and always keep dreaming. Chapter 5 is the 5 facts about how to be a good son or daughter, or basically like a kid. So if you have parents, help them out with maybe washing the dishes or doing laundry, and make sure you do your chores because it's worth it, trust me. And mostly be kind to them and be respectful. And if you have like family members who are like your brothers or sisters and things like that, always try to play with them, and if they feel bad or if they're not very happy or they're crying, always try to help them feel better. And then chapter 6 is how to be a good kid. So if you want to be a good kid, you should definitely be like all the character traits that you can be the best of. So don't ever try to be like an adult. Always try to be someone happy, and mostly just like who you are. Be who you are and don't try to be anyone else. And how to be a good kid is like try to be respectful, like I said, nice, kind, helpful, of course, and very persevering as well. So I'll read chapter 1 to you, and maybe you might like it. So, chapter 1. Your childhood begins when your mom gives birth to you and you come into the world. I was born on January 25th of 2007. My name is Ashleigh. I live in a house with one younger sister, one baby brother, my dad, my mom, and of course me. I'm the oldest kid in my family, so that gives me the biggest job of all. Dealing with my baby brother and my 8-year-old sister. Ooh. It's hard, but it's worth having them because they give you companionship and they're always with you no matter what kind of trouble you're in or what hard times you're in. So that's how it is for me in my childhood. What is it like for you in your house? Are you the oldest? Are you the youngest? Or are you the middle child? Wait, do you know what? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter as long as you love your family because that's all that matters. And I'll read chapter 2 as well if you want me to. Chapter 2. Here are some good things about being a kid. You are flexible, fast, strong, smart, and you don't have to have a job. And you also don't have to have a lot of responsibilities like adults do. But there are some things that are kind of upsetting. For instance, your parents get to tell you what to do. Also, you don't get to have some things that you might want. And as well, you don't always get to invite your friends over when you want to. But in my family, I have chores I have to do every day that I don't really want to do them, but I I do it because I love my parents and I don't want to disobey them. But what's good about being a kid in this family is that I don't have to go to work, and I definitely don't have to be in charge of taking care of 3 kids and having all of those responsibilities parents have. So, I think that parents, of course, they have jobs and have to take care of you, and that's a really big responsibility, even though you might think it's not. Well, trust me, it is. I've seen it. So, chapter 3. Most kids like to play a lot and do all kinds of active things, almost all the time. Kids are so active because they have a ton of energy every day. That means that sometimes you lose a lot of energy if you don't eat enough that day, and that causes you to get tired sometimes. And you may not always obey your parents, or you may not always act very polite. If you're tired, you don't always act like yourself. If you're around adults and you're tired and you're not being very polite, adults might not really like to be around you. You want adults to think you're a responsible and good kid, not a disrespectful kid. You want to act like a grown-up around adults, too. Chapter 4. Kids like to play on playgrounds. Some like to play different types of sports like soccer, baseball, football, basketball, and softball. Others are into dancing, gymnastics, drawing, painting, and doing crafts. What kinds of things do you like to do? I like to dance, sing, write books, of course, and write books, of course. I like doing arts and crafts, and I like to play soccer too. It's really fun to be able to learn new things while you're a kid, because when you grow up, it's harder to find a time to learn those basic things you should have learned in your childhood. For instance, you need to learn how to write in cursive when you're a kid. You need to have your multiplication facts learned when you're a kid, and a lot of other things too. So it's a wonderful opportunity to get to learn these things while you're young. Chapter 5. Here are 5 ways on how to be a good son, daughter, or kid. Number 1, always be thoughtful and kind to others. Number 2, be patient around others. Number 3, you probably have friends at school that's good. You probably have friends at school. That's good, but always try to make new friends too. I promise you, there are kids who go to your school that don't have friends, so always try to be friends with them. They need someone they can trust. They need someone they can talk to, and they need someone to play with on the playground. Number 4, if you see anyone who you think needs help with something, or if they get hurt, help them up, or give them a hand. They will appreciate what you did for them. That shows responsibility and kindness. Number 5, the key to being a kid is to act older. What I mean by that is that if you need to do things that adults or teenagers do without taking responsibilities that adults and you don't need to, like, for instance, adults don't need to be, like, you don't need to be in charge of somebody else. You just need to be very independent and very responsible with things like cleaning up your room without being asked, and help out around the house, and maybe even do the laundry for your parents. To be a good kid, you need to be respectful, nice, responsible, happy, joyful, honest, and of course, have fun. So I hope you enjoyed what I just read. I hope you like my book, and thank you for listening to me, and I hope if you do think about getting this book, or if you do think about reading it or something, or listening to this audio track right now, then please check on what it is like to be a kid, because it's fun, but it's not always as happy as you think. So thank you for listening. Bye.